Star Trek Discovery is back. I just got done watching the first 2 episodes of this 5th and final season. First 2 seasons of Star Trek Discovery were really awesome. They were bold, they were different, they had a lot of Gen Z themes that I thought needed to be explored in a new Trek. Then they finished off the 3rd season, gave us that pretty terrible explanation for the burn, and then we got the 4th season of Star Trek Discovery, which in my opinion suffered from the worst writer's room in Star Trek history. You have this really talented cast of rather likable actors, and even their talent can't save this terrible melodramatic yap script that they just kept on spoon feeding us every episode without any substance of actual plot until you get towards the end with the Species 10C. I am happy to report that after watching the first 2 episodes that there are improvements. I like this Captain Burnham I see in these first 2 episodes a lot more than the Captain Burnham that I saw in season 4. Had her caught up in a lot of political drama, and she was also just way too intertwined with her boyfriend character, Cleveland Booker, who I'm also happy to report has gotten more interesting. The first 2 episodes read Directive and Under the Twin Moons. Now, I will have to say that there is a lot of TNG inspiration. For one thing, this whole season is centered around the progenitor species that was seen in the TNG The Chase episode. We also have this interesting new character in the form of Captain Rainier, and he is the captain of the Antares, and he really reminds me of Chief O'Brien's old captain that was in the Wounded episode, this warmongering captain who has most experience in a time of conflict, but now that he's in this time of peace, he finds it a little bit harder to acclimate, and you find him making this crazy mistake that almost kills an entire village of people. And it really reminds me of like an Imperial Inquisitor from 40K who are willing to destroy entire planets to save the rest of the Emperor's realm. And in the second episode, when they're down investigating on the Promelian planet, that really reminds me of the Arsenal of Freedom episode from The Next Generation, because there's like an armed security system. Very cool, that security system, by the way, in episode 2 with all the statues. I felt like the VFX there were pretty neat. Speaking of VFX, if you go to the first episode at 21:18, I believe it is, there is a little animation of them doing a jump from the perspective of a docking bay, and it just looks absolutely terrible. Like one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's pretty goofy. At the beginning, they drop a huge bombshell, one that I've really been waiting to see the answer to, and that's the fact that Stamets is pretty unhappy that the whole Spore Drive project has been shelved. That is interesting to me because I always thought that they were going to bring the Spore Drive and give it to every ship into the fleet like they were trying to do. However, it seems like they can't find a solution, like find an ethical pilot. And I get why they did that. I feel like the showrunners don't want to be responsible for introducing a very overpowered propulsion system into Star Trek that would ultimately just kind of ruin the whole naval aspect of it. Like, if you have the Spore Drive, I don't imagine that we're going to be having that cool ship-to-ship traditional battles like we have in Star Trek. Burnham and her crew are sent on this really secret Red Directive mission to go and find the technology of the progenitors from the TNG Chase episode. Povich is strangely unwilling to divulge the information of the mission with Captain Burnham for whatever reason. It's just kind of to make it seem a little bit more dramatic, and it's unnecessary. Really do get this impression that Sonequa is just way better at playing the Captain Burnham character that she was trying to play in season 4. Goes on to the bridge and just briefs her crew and her senior staff, the people that matter. Whereas in season 4, she would constantly be using the intercom to brief them about any mission, just everybody on the ship, which in previous Trek series, the captain would only brief the entire ship over the intercom if they needed to like be silent on comms or if shit was really hitting the fan. You don't need to be doing it all the time or it really loses its effect. Loved how Captain Burnham, even though this is a Red Directive mission that could mean the safety of the Federation, she's calmly telling her crew what the mission is, and the acting is just way, way better. It's more realistic and more believable. Villains of this season are Maul and Locke. Maul, definitely a bootleg Shin from the new Ahsoka series. I swear, they constantly find ways to get inspired by things that are successful in the new Star Wars series that are coming out. She's pretty cool, especially because she has this tie into Booker and how she is actually the daughter of his deceased mentor. We're finally getting that extra layer to Booker's backstory that isn't his destroyed planet that he's constantly traumatized about, which is awesome. Not only did Captain Burnham's performance get better, but I really did like their utilization of Book. Wasn't taking up too much of Captain Burnham's attention. He kind of slowed his role a little bit. He's reformed and he's just there to do the right thing and help out. I liked the amount of Cleveland Booker that we got. If you've seen any of my previous reviews, I'm highly critical of Book. To start the mission, it was really cool to see Kovich raise the stakes, up the tenseness when he told Burnham to board the Romulan ship, and he was like, I do not care how this gets done. We need to get this done. Locke, on the other hand, is pretty boring. I don't really like how he looks. Kind of just looks like the skinless Klingons from Discovery Season 1. A little bit of a boring design, boring character, and I feel like he's not really going to be that important as Maul is trying to be. While in pursuit of Locke and Maul, though, it was really cool to find that the information dealer down on this planet was a Soong-type android that was created by Noonien Soon's son, Alton Soong, that was seen in Picard Season 1. They don't explicitly answer this question, but it does have me wondering how rare androids are. Did they reproduce and make a ton after Picard Season 1, or did they kind of chill out, dissipate, and did their civilization become kind of rare? Their reaction to seeing the android killed and everything doesn't imply that they're rare. Seeing it doesn't impress them that much. I did think it was extremely funny how Michael was like, oh, by the way, if this android has family, we should let them know and notify them. Like, she was caring about the android, but she didn't give two farts about the two dead grunts that were on her left and right. She barely thought of those things as organisms. I do have to say, there was that classic level of Discovery ridiculousness saturate you in crazy action scenes. There was a scene of Michael at the beginning of the first episode surfing on a ship going at warp. He fell off of the ship, and I did think it was kind of funny how she got hit by a piece of space debris and was like, ah, that hurts. Saru, the Rizzler, okay, rizzes up President Tarina so hard, accepts his promotion, becomes this new ambassador for the Federation, and then he rizzes her up so hard that she proposes to him, and now they're going to get married. Which is amazing. That's great. We all love Saru, but it just goes back to the comedic fact that this show's greatest strength is distancing us from the characters we actually like. Michelle Yeoh's gone. Tilly, she like kind of left and went away and came back again. She just keeps on leaving and coming back. And then here's Saru, giving him the Tilly treatment. He's probably going to be gone, and we're not going to see him again until the season finale. Because at the end, after all these shenanigans, after Captain Raynor has been such an unlikable character, I'm going to get into him, I think, finally. Because he's the biggest part about these two episodes, the season opener, is that this guy is so unlikable. And his actor is not that convincing. I think he's supposed to become like a big part of this season, but in all actuality, he's one of the more frustrating weak parts. If their intention was to have me not like him in the first episode, they did a really great job of it, but then him coming and helping them aboard the ancient Promelian planet that they were getting shot on, he came in and just kind of beamed and he's like, I was spying on you guys. I've done a bunch of these Red Directive missions. I'm obsessed. I was listening in. You need to do this. And he kind of helped them out. So now we don't have Saru, and we have Captain Raynor, this guy who kind of a psychopath, was willing to murder people for the sake of Starfleet. Not the most likable, and when he was delivering his lines, a lot of them seemed a little bit static. He's Vulcan, I think? Kind of crazy seeing a war-mongering Vulcan that really only cares about protecting the Federation at all costs. It almost seems like, we're bringing back a character that we had that opportunity of already doing so. Captain Lorca is what I'm trying to say here. Captain Lorca was another character in Discovery who reminds me very much of Raynor, who's willing to warmonger and do what it takes to win and succeed. Motorcycle scene was a little bit out there, just didn't really need it. It was stupid. No way they had two top-of-the-line starships just nosedive into the desert to create a force field to protect these people. That was absolutely outrageous. It looked silly. Tilly is now officially in her teaching role, and I kind of like seeing her happy teaching. Was really abrasive to it in last season, how they took her away from us, and it was like, no, she doesn't want to be a part of the crew anymore. We don't actually get to have like a long-lasting adventure with this crew that we love so much. Good to see her teaching. She's definitely going to be a character on this new Academy series that they're producing. It was recently confirmed that it's going to be taking place in the Discovery era. If they don't use a fan favorite actress like Mary Wiseman to come and play Tilly on that show, I think that they're just totally fumbling the bag. Also, Zara was really creepy in season 4, trying to make a nice sentient computer that we all got along with, when it really was just giving off HAL 2000 vibes from Space Odyssey. Zara is now acting like a computer and no longer taking the time to just give extra dialogue, which is, in my opinion, good. We just need to forget about this Zara thing. So all in all, I think I'm going to give those first 2 episodes I just watched a 6. Mostly just because they're entertaining, they didn't wow me, and they are ultimately just playing on a trope that has already been used from the TNG, the progenitor trope in The Chase, which is kind of cool. I thought that this was one of those episodes of Star Trek that, in all honesty, might be retconned. Like, they never really reference it ever again. It is cool that it's being referenced, but I'm cautious. They still do need to take this progenitor thing and turn it into an entertaining premise for the rest of the season and give us a strong, amazing ending to this series. That is what I need. But for now, season opener, just a slight improvement, and I am not disappointed. With all that being said, though, thank you so much for watching another one of my Star Trek reviews. If you're enjoying any of the content on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you were to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. And if you have anything that you'd like to share with me, please leave it down in the comments below. I love comments. They're my favorite thing about YouTube. Really tired after watching those 2 episodes so late at night, so I'm going to edit this and go to bed. Y'all have a good rest of your week. Live long and prosper.
Get